Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome to the Gameweek 30 pod of the FPL Wire. I'm your host, Zophar, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Late Riser and Pras. We now have the FA Cup semi-final draw and a potential new chip strategy. On an excitement scale of 1 to 10, have you gone up to 11, Pras?
Man, the last 2 days have been incredible. Like, I have now realized what I love in FPL. Maybe I realized it before anyway, but the last 16 hours have been beautiful. I slept so well. I was thinking about the game in the way it should be thought of, different chip combinations. But we have to go back, Zoff. We have to go to Sunday first. The jersey. We won.
Absolutely. We
What did you
won.
guys make of it? Where did you watch it?
I watched at home
Saw
with
it
a
at
few
a friend.
friends. Go ahead, Ella.
Similar, just saw it at a friend's place as well.
Was it as
I-
competitive
I-
as I thought it would be, to be honest? I think we were a bit lucky that South Africa went out in the earlier stage, but I don't mind that. A lot of people were rooting, oh, it was a boring final. I'd rather have a nice, calm, without nerves, simple road to the victory.
I mean, we got the exciting final in the semis against England.
Yeah.
I mean, what an innings from Bethel that was. That was brilliant to watch. But I will say, though, the fields of this World Cup compared to maybe it's just our age and affinities that we've developed. Like, I'm starting to develop these sort of feelings for me. Bumrah's exist and maybe a player or two. But how much we loved players of the past, starting with the Ganguly Dravid era and then the Rohit and Kohli era, it still hasn't happened quite yet for me. I just wanted to put that out there
You're
as
just
well.
getting spoiled, guys. Like, if you win a World Cup every 2 years, of course the second one doesn't feel as good, right? I mean, the last one felt good because the game was pretty much lost, and then it was won. It felt good because we had lost a final 2 years before that Australia one, which we shall not mention, and it was a long time after a World Cup. It was like 12 years or something. So at this one, like, felt like it was in the bag, but I don't mind it, man. It was like a 2 hour, 3 hour party, and now those of us who watched that Australia final that India lost in 2003, I think it was the one that where Ponting thrashed us in the ODI final. Now you know
Yeah.
how they felt, so we take it.
The Aussies going out was a bit sweet. I must mention that. Sorry to our Aussie audience, the fact they went out. You have to mention it.
Always nice, always nice, and our English audience will agree with that as well.
Absolutely.
What have you guys been up to in the IP, man? I mean, the Not plug is going to be quite interesting. There's so much new content out there.
Yeah, man.
So I'm looking forward to
I
that.
had an absolute horror game week, so I just completely switched off for 2 to 3 days, watched a few shows, played a few video games. That's about it.
Nice. Good timing that way in terms of the FA Cup weekend in general. It helps reboot, etc., recalibrate. And now there's so much to think about in the game also in terms of paths, etc. I don't know. Pras, have you decided which way you're going or still a wait and watch? Sort of?
Paths are set, guys. Just tune in. Next 1 hour, each path will be determined by what quarterfinal result we get.
Fantastic.
Lovely.
Should we get started, guys?
Let's get into it. Let's dust off the cobwebs. As always, all the data that you see on the podcast is from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. If you haven't become a member already, there's some interesting articles based on the doubles and the blanks, etc. as well, which are members only. So scan this QR code or click on the link in the description below.
And as you guys know, NordVPN has been a long-term partner of the FPL Wire. If you're bored of the streaming libraries in your country, with NordVPN, you can access content outside your region, get access to a wider library on your favorite streaming services, and if you're traveling outside your country, you can access your home library content. Every purchase of the 2-year NordVPN plan using the link nordvpn.com/FPL Wire will receive an additional 4 bonus months on top. What have you guys been watching, Pras?
I'm catching up to you guys, man. Like, I'm watching Industry now, which LR was watching months ago, and the reason also was because we've just bought this Nintendo Switch 2, which has taken up a lot of time. It's a family thing, but it's a lot of fun.
Are you any good
that's
at
what
Mario
I have
Kart?
been doing. Yeah, I'm getting there.
The new one is
try to
quite
keep
different
it,
from the older one. They've changed a lot of the
I never
mechanics.
played the older one. I have just, in fact, you guys saw I stepped out of the pod just when we were starting. The steering wheels have arrived, so the gear is here.
You're
So that's
steering
what
wheel
I'm.
deep. I like it because otherwise you have to use the
Exactly.
tiny joypads.
My daughter doesn't like the whole thing. She does it anyway with the remote. So I was like, just get the steering wheel, man.
What about you, LR?
Pras, you mentioned Industry. Have you seen Euphoria before?
No.
No,
But
just for those that have seen Euphoria and have seen Industry, I feel like Industry is just channelizing its inner Euphoria in terms of the direction that the show is taking this season in terms of character depth, etc. as well. But I've been watching Vladimir, Zoph and I are
How far are you
Rachel
into
Weisz.
it?
I'm episode 4, I think, and
Are you
it's an
able to
easy watch,
watch?
like 20-30.
Is it though? Because the main character is just so horny. I just can't get over it. Like every other scene, she's just thinking of banging that dude. I'm
there's a
like, okay.
pattern here now.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. And then I'm just so excited for the amount that there is to watch. Like I'm excited for Young Sherlock, which is Guy Ritchie's show. I've heard good things about that show.
very good.
I don't know if I can watch a Sherlock show that doesn't have Benedict Cumberbatch though. So that's the only thing that's holding me back so far. And I'm looking forward to Rooster, man, which I think releases today, if I'm not
So
mistaken.
one
which is
episode's
the-
already out. It came out yesterday. Have you had to
Did you
watch?
catch it?
I haven't watched that. After you watch DTF St. Louis also. I've got a couple of episodes of that also booked in.
How's
but man,
that? How's that show as well?
it looked interesting so far. The cast is good. It looks fun.
How about you, man? What have you been watching
Bro,
in this break?
I've watched so much stuff, but I have to say, Young Sherlock has to be at the top of my list. When I saw the title, I thought it was going to be like those Young Sheldon sort of Big Bang sort of spin-offs, like sort of thing, like just a play. But
Young Sheldon is good, by the way.
Young Sheldon is fun. Young
for
Sheldon
our
actually,
age.
it gets like quite serious later on. It tackles some serious topics which I didn't expect. But anyway, digress. But Young Sherlock, what I can't get over is the tailoring, man. There is no finer piece of apparel a man can buy than a well-tailored three-piece suit. And the tweed suits they have on that, so my God, all I'm doing is just looking at the suits those guys are wearing. I don't have enough occasions to wear a three-piece suit, otherwise I'd just be buying so many. How many do you have, Pras?
I used to before COVID a lot, but now we hardly wear suits at work, man. Like people just generally chill. Like everybody is dressed down one notch. So just a couple.
I saw that.
And
I saw.
speaking of occasions, Zoff, Pras and I are waiting for the invitation. You just let us know when you're ready, man. And
Ready
we'll
for
come
it.
and suit it up.
We'll come in three-piece suit.
Yeah.
Not happening, guys, anytime soon. But other than that, I watched Korra season 2. It was nice contrast to take that, like, that and like Young Sherlock, two very different shows. I saw Anil Kapoor's new movie Subedar, which was absolutely horrific. Please do not watch it. Some other stuff
I like it when Zoff doesn't like something and he's talking about it, right? His voice goes a little shrill. So
Yeah.
that's the sign where Zoff really doesn't like this. Go on.
We'll
Zoff.
come back when we talk about João Pedro.
Yes. we will. Getting back to Nod. Nod also has an efficient anti-malware and anti-spyware protection tool. It highlights any attack and deletes it before it makes a mess of your computer. Grab your exclusive Nod VPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/FPL Wire. It's completely risk-free with Nod's 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up using the link in the description below. Top work on the thumbnail, by the way, Pras.
By the way, Baba will not be happy with this. I basically took his thumbnail and I put it into Grok, and this is what came back. I just said, "Can you describe this image?" And it said FPL troll Gameweek 30.
It's been insane, man. The amount of points. You know, he's got double the amount of points of Haaland since game week 18. 88 points. Haaland's got 44.
I don't know what to
And
do with this guy. Man.
We'll talk about Pedro when we talk about Pedro as well.
Either way, guys.
I do want to say that, when citing Haaland replacements, I did say that we should not just ignore this guy last week. So I will take a metaphorical pat on the back for that one.
Yep. All right. The agenda for today. First up, of course, we look at the FA Cup draw, the impact on chip planning and wildcard windows. We then look at the best punts for the next two. Talk Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Of course, Haaland will also be thrown in there. Do we prioritize changing attackers now or get 11? A certain Morgan Rogers I hate as much as LR hates Arsenal. Maybe a little bit less. Captaincy in the next two, fixtures and results, and our teams. So, Pras, let's get started first up with the FA Cup draw. Take it away.
So FA Cup draw. Firstly, what we see from this draw is that the bigger teams, the teams in Europe, were generally kept apart, right? The worst case draw for least carnage would have been like Chelsea playing Arsenal, Man City playing Liverpool. So with that being spread out a little bit, you're expecting 3 doubles in Game Week 33, and we'll get into that. So the other good thing about the draw is that it's more predictable, right? So Arsenal should beat Southampton, Chelsea should beat Port Vale, and then we know one of Man City or Liverpool will definitely go through. So that means 3 of these teams in Europe should make it through to the semi-final. So that therefore you can already start to plan that this double in Game Week 33 should shape up somehow like this, because not only will they double, their opponents in Game Week 34 will also double. If I need to step back a little bit, let me just tell you, whoever wins this tie will have a game in Game Week 34. That's when the semi-final is. That game could move to the midweek of Game Week 34, or it could move to Game Week 33. That's the dynamics that we're playing around with, which is where the fourth fixture comes into it, which is, now we know it is West Ham, who will play Leeds United. And that fixture, at least this is the planning gurus and the TV digital spy forums and all of that, they think that fixture will just stay in Game Week 34. So whoever wins between West Ham and Leeds, it actually doesn't impact chip strategy as much. The one that impacts it the most, which we will talk about, is Man City and Liverpool. So one thing the Man City-Liverpool tie has almost guaranteed now is, for people who have a triple captaincy chip can now listen carefully, we will almost guaranteed have another double game week after Game Week 33. Guaranteed. Because let's assume Man City win. If Man City win, they have not only the fixture against Crystal Palace in Game Week 31 to reschedule, they'll have the fixture against Burnley to reschedule, which is in Game Week 34. So they'll have two clashes, therefore two double game weeks. If Liverpool win, then Liverpool's opponent in Game Week 34 is Crystal Palace. Man City's opponent in Game Week 31 blank is also Crystal Palace. They both cannot play in Game Week 33. So therefore, they will definitely be another double. So either Man City will double twice or Crystal Palace will double twice, pretty much 100%. The only pretty much I'm saying, not 100%, is the case where Man City go out to Real Madrid and Crystal Palace also lose, and that game still stays in Game Week 31. That is still possible, but we're talking like 2-3%. So this is the big picture in terms of how the chips have landed, or how the draw has landed and what this means for everyone. Let's go into a little bit of Q&A and let's talk about sort of what this means for us.
These are the likely doubles plus we are looking at, and let's make the assumption over here. We're assuming that Arsenal win, assuming that Chelsea win, assume that City win, and let's say, I mean, West Ham Leeds is not so much relevant for us now, because again, we're expecting it to remain within 34. But for the purpose of this discussion, we've assumed that West Ham win.
So if West Ham win, by the way, their fixture is even more likely to stay in 34
Because
than
neither are
if
in
Leeds
Europe.
win and Leeds. Yeah, no, even Leeds, Bournemouth are not. But for whatever TV reasons,
Because
or
West
when
Ham
they
on
play,
the Monday, something like that, right?
something like that. West Ham play Crystal Palace in Game Week 33 on a Monday. So for them to then move that fixture and then put also West Ham Crystal Palace, Everton on a Thursday just doesn't, it's not worth it. So we should almost ignore Everton and West Ham here and look at this as the double game week, the likeliest double game week that we are going to get. Looks very ugly, right?
There's not any team that I would say has two great fixtures over there.
Yeah, man, it's just not that also, right? Like, so you're looking for, if you're thinking of building a bench boost, you're looking for one of the, like West Ham is a prime team to build a bench boost. Unfortunately, they don't look like they're going to have a double, because you want a couple of cheap assets and a decent goalkeeper to sit on your bench. Somebody like Somerville, somebody like the Kilman, etc., who can sit on Mavropanos, who can sit at the bench. There's just nobody there. So how are you going to fit in a bench boost which has players from Arsenal, Brighton, Chelsea, City, and Newcastle? There's not many cheap assets. Maybe Newcastle you can say that has a few cheap assets that you can fit in there, but outside of that, it's looking a little bleak.
Yeah, Burnley, you don't want anyone similar for Brighton. Brighton has mid-priced assets, not really any cheapies. Not many DEFCON guys also, right? Ideally, you want some DEFCON guys. You look at these guys, there are not many DEFCON teams in here.
That was going to be my point next, which is bench boosts, basic thing I've been saying all season. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be magnificent. We'll have Nottingham Forest bench boosting with Anderson and, other DEFCON guys. But here, who are you picking for DEFCON? Maybe Van Heck, maybe Chalobah, but then Chelsea have been terrible. Like, do they keep a clean sheet home to Man United, away to Brighton? I don't know. Who else is a DEFCON guy? Malik Chow,
Theo,
who's playing Bournemouth at home. Yeah, and away to Arsenal. But that's it, really. Like, you're not going to get accumulated DEFCON, and pretty much people will, if on free hit or who are not playing the chip, they'll probably start Chiao and Chalobah. So that's the first thing that came to mind, where when you're looking at this scenario, the likeliest scenario of Man City winning, then this bench boost doesn't look great, but it has even more weaknesses. If you look at the broader fixture ticker, if you look at Game Week 32 Zoph, Game Week 32, who plays, Chelsea plays Man City. So let's say you're wildcarding in Game Week 32. and you want to get 12 players or 15 players from these doubling teams, right? You have 6 players from Chelsea, Man City who play each other in Game Week 32. Brighton is the team which has a good fixture. They're away to Burnley. Everybody has Arsenal anyway. And Newcastle are away to... Where is Game Week 32? I can't see it properly.
I'll tell you. Newcastle are Palace. Away to Palace.
Palace away, right? So it's like you're loading up on these teams to actually have a very poor Game Week 32. And who are you selling now? Who will you not have in Game Week 32? Liverpool. Because you're not going to have Liverpool now on a wild card because they don't double. And by the way, if Man City win, 100%... Liverpool cannot double in 33 if Man City are doubling. Only one of them can double because they play each other. So you're going to not have Liverpool on your Game Week 32 wildcard. You're not going to have Man United on your Game Week 32 wildcard. You're not going to have Brentford. You're not going to have Brentford on your Game Week 32 wildcard.
Everton at home.
Those are like 7-8 players that exist in your team now that you'll throw away to buy players from Chelsea and Man City. That becomes the issue when you come into it. Then let's go to Game Week 34. So let's say you wildcarded, you got all these Chelsea, Man City players. Now you want to free hit, right? Because you bench boosted, now you want to free hit. Which are the players you're going to buy in Game Week 34 for free hit? Liverpool players, because they're home to...
Leeds.
Read it out of Leeds.
Palace. Palace. 34 is Palace.
Correct. Man United players who are home to Brentford. So again, players you already have. You can also argue that Man United defense is not so great, so you'll probably have Thiago on your free hit. So what you're trying to say is Game Week 34 free hit that you're planning, you'll be buying the team that you actually sold to wildcard in 32. So this was my first thought when this draw was announced and Brentford went out and Chelsea are now almost near guaranteed to go through, that do you need to wildcard in 32 or not?
Yeah. And the best thing that we can do once all the results and everything come into play, and what we're going to do is just basically have the factors to consider while we are brainstorming together, right? Like a couple of things that actually stood out to me is the toughest tie to call is Liverpool City. And let's say the fair assumption is, let's say 60-40. Like Liverpool are very much capable of beating
City.
City.
66-33 in markets, right now.
Yeah. So there is a 1/3 chance that Liverpool beats City. What happens then is actually City's most prime fixture happens to be in Game Week 34. And City actually end the season quite beautifully. Like City and Arsenal have...
Another 35 ticker. 1 second, I'll pick it up. There you go.
Some of the best fixtures towards the end of the season. Like this is Arsenal 34 onwards. Newcastle home, they'll probably blank because of the double. In Game Week 35, Fulham home, West Ham away, Burnley home. Like that's beautiful. You want double or triple Arsenal for that time if the title race is still on. City's end of the season, if they lose to Liverpool, then they have Burnley in 34. After that, they've got Everton away, Brentford at home, Bournemouth away, Villa at home. Decent fixtures. And I saw that Chelsea also have decent fixtures. 35 onwards, they play Forest at home, Spurs at home. So the weird sort of juxtaposition here is that if you build a wildcard towards the end of the season, but are compromising in Game Week 32, because Game Week 2, the problem is City and Chelsea face each other. That's the big problem. But outside of that, your wildcard in 32 and your wildcard in 35 will sort of have the same players because Chelsea, Arsenal, City are predominantly decent fixtures and they are doubling in 33 as well. So the genuine problem is 32. Like that's also the juxtaposition, because I don't think the two wildcards will be very far because the teams to target might be pretty much the same anyway. So yeah, even that is in play, I thought.
Well, you'll have on wildcard 35, you'll have triple Palace because Palace will double in 36. Things could change between 32 and 35. Maybe there's a player injured. Maybe Nico Riley is not the flavor of the month. Foden becomes the flavor of the month.
Correct. Information changes primarily.
So if the way I look at it is, if your team is better in 32, if your team is better in 34, you can free hit in 33. You can wildcard in 35. So every single week, you're maximizing points. All you're losing out is a bumper bench boost. So all you need to do is think about, am I going to gain more through bench boost in 33? Because bench boost 33 will get the most points. There is no doubt about that. There will be more doublers on your bench. So by definition, they should do better. But is that enough to justify you losing some points to the field in 32 and potentially 35 and 36? So that's the math that people need to do. 34, of course, you are on free hit. Other people will not be. So you should also gain there. So it's not a no-brainer. The way I'm presenting it is not to say that wildcard 32 is now bad. I'm glad that there is now a rival strategy that if Man City win, that rival strategy will then be free hit 33, wildcard 35, bench boost 36. And bench boost can be any other week as well, right? You could triple captain 36. I just think that's a good rival strategy to the very popular, which is still going to be very popular, wildcard 32, bench boost 33, free hit 34.
There's another problem with bench boost 33, as in the players you buy for that week may not be optimal for the weeks after. And let's see how the fixtures like for, let's say, lots of Newcastle and stuff. I may not necessarily want those guys for the later weeks, right?
But they are. They are.
Let's have a
Also,
look
one
at
of the
that.
things that has happened, Newcastle have good fixtures towards the end of the season. So that the only thing I noticed is your doublers in 33 have a good 35 to 38. So the people that actually do go early don't lose out. And one of the interesting things that have happened with Newcastle is they've lost both the cup games. And they're playing Barcelona in the Champions League. If they lose in the Champions League, they have nothing else to focus on except for the league. So what do we worry about with an expanded, overloaded Newcastle squad? Oh, there's going to be rotation, there's a fixture crunch. The fixture crunch might just die this week because they will not have anything else to play for except the league. And then they have a decent end of the season as well. So even that's another factor that's come into play for an important team that might be important towards the end of the season. That's Newcastle United also. So like, when I'm thinking of which way to go right now, I genuinely think it's so tight. That's why I was looking forward to chatting with you guys in terms of, man, Pras was spot on. There isn't a clear path. There is pros and cons to every path. And it isn't, normally we say team dependent. I don't even think it's highly team dependent. It's sort of dependent on conviction in terms of where do you want to go and where do you think the points might come.
Why isn't it team dependent though? Because let's say you're loaded up on Liverpool, let's say you're loaded up on Manchester United. It seems like 32 and 34 you could sail through with quite a good team.
That's most people. That's most people who are limited. Then it's up to whether you want to go for a Newcastle bench boost in 33 or not. That sort of thing comes into play then. Because I think most people who are engaged managers have United and Liverpool players at the moment, or will be getting United or Liverpool players for blank 31 anyway.
Because in terms of bench boost, I don't think it should be a tilting factor significantly. Because again, I'm not seeing the potential as much just given the doubles that we have. Like there are no banker points, I think, over there. And again, we're talking about the limited DEFCON guys also. So let the bench boost tilt your strategy when you still have a significant sample size of weeks to play after that. That's something that's not sitting right with me. I think even if you can potentially get the bench boost out of the way before playing the wild card, it could be highly beneficial.
Yeah, I was looking at bench boost opportunities also. Sorry, Pras, just 1 second. One thing actually that stood out to me is we're looking at cheapy DEFCON guys when we're thinking of bench boost, right? You see the top left corner here, Zoph. You're seeing in Gameweek 35, Leeds play Burnley, and Wolves play Sunderland. That's actually beautiful bench boost people that you can get for a decent fixture in that game. But 35 is likely going to be a wildcard week. So I just thought of it. An alternate strategy could be wildcarding in 32 or 33 with bench boost 35 in mind, because you have those guys who are cheap guys on the bench. Because I was looking for bench boost weeks. I actually think 38th is the best bench boost option for a lot of us. Like Pras and I have the likes of Hill, maybe Richards, etc., who are sitting on a bench who have decent fixtures. And then if you're looking to sell Haaland, you can easily build a squad of 15. But the problem of that is you're in between Wednesday, weekend, Tuesday turnaround for 3 Champions League teams. So you could get cut by rotation. And it could come randomly, and we are not aware of that. Because 35, out of the remaining weeks, 35 seems like the best bench boost weeks when I'm looking at the fixtures for the cheapies.
Yeah, you mentioned that, right? Because between the 2 European weeks, Gameweek 35. That's something.
And even 30, even this week, if you're looking at bench boost 30, because a lot of people have a decent squad, bench boostable squad this week. So where are the bench boost opportunities?
There are not many. So this is the counter to people who say we want to bench boost in 33. Like, what is the counter? You're losing points on bench boost. What you're saying is I'm going to get 10, 15 points on bench boost, but I can make more through other weeks. That's the idea. I'd probably, if I was on the wildcard 35 strategy, I'll probably target bench boost 36, which by the way would also target some Brighton players because they're home to Wolves in that week. It would also target some Leeds players because they have good fixtures around it. But all I'm trying to say is that in the run-in that we've just looked at, I have trouble trusting Brighton, Newcastle type teams who rotate a lot randomly. They rotate their attackers randomly. Their defenders don't DEFCON. So I just have trouble saying that for the rest of the season, just because the fixtures are okay. These are not amazing fixtures, by the way. They're okay. So, like, I still want to go back to triple Palace, triple Man City, triple Arsenal, Bruno Fernandes, and Defcon guys. The thing that has worked through the season, which is what I want to go if I wildcard in 35. That's my advantage. Whereas other people may carry the Chalobahs and the João Pedros and the Welbecks, and their minutes start getting eaten up. Maybe that's my hope, right? What I'm trying to say is there is hope if people don't want to wildcard in 32, because ultimately, yeah, of course, everybody over 3 weeks, one person will start popping their wildcard, more people will start popping their wildcard. The reality is a lot of people will be wildcarding in Game Week 32.
Looking at exit
I
points,
tell you, the biggest sacrifice in Gameweek 32 is that United Leeds fixture. And Liverpool is a TBD. Let's say 35%, 65% out, right? You could just wildcard into Liverpool if Liverpool beat City. Then the wildcard 32 maybe becomes a lot more popular.
So I was going to talk about this scenario. If Liverpool do beat Man City, then I think wildcard 32 works. So currently the way I'm thinking about it is, don't press the button over the international break. Wait for Man City, Liverpool. If Liverpool win, now it's a little counterintuitive to say you're wildcarding into Liverpool where you already have potentially Salah, Ekitike and Van Dijk. Why would you do that? The answer is Crystal Palace. If Man City lose and Liverpool end up winning, then you can make a much better bench boost, because now Crystal Palace have a double-double. They will double in 33, they will double in 36. What you have to set up is now, right now, the other doubling team with Man City was Burnley. You don't want any Burnley players, right? Even Dubravka, like, if he's on your bench boost, I'm happy to take you on. So if that doubling team is not Burnley, but Crystal Palace, now suddenly I can get Lacroix, I can get potentially Henderson, and I can get Sarr. Now those 3 spots look a lot better than what it was looking in the Man City winning strategy. So I think Liverpool winning, wildcard 32, bench boost 33 is very powerful. And I think that's what a lot of people might end up doing. And if Man City win, then maybe hold off.
It's so tight. It genuinely is so tight. Like there's just so many permutations.
I was looking at exit points, guys. Now, ultimately, also when we look to play a wildcard, we look at the end of fixture runs for certain teams, right? Now, let's say we are loaded up on Manchester United and Liverpool players. That week they play each other. Which other teams do we want to get rid of? I'm seeing Brentford's run towards the end of the season is not great. They play West Ham in 35 from 36, 37, 38. You probably don't want any of their players. Manchester United will hold on to Bruno. Liverpool's run also is not great. United, Chelsea, Villa, Brentford. You don't mind getting rid of your Liverpool players. Also, let's say supposedly we go all in this week.
I don't know, Zoph. Like, one other thing also is the state of the league right now in terms of. It's difficult. In your head, when you saw Aston Villa for Chelsea for Game Week 29, you thought tough fixture. I don't want Chelsea attackers. And see what happened. And when we are seeing teams against teams at Bus Park, against Leeds or West Ham, we see it as a easy fixture. But not many goals are getting scored against such teams. So what is a good fixture and what is a bad fixture? Primarily for attackers. Let's say you are loading up on defense with Arsenal guys and some decent Defcon guys anyway. The talk here is attackers. And then there's only like 2 or 3 teams worth attacking at the moment, right? There's Spurs, there's maybe Wolves, there's Burnley, and then Leeds to a certain extent. There's not many teams worth attacking. Like, this is a beautiful graph that Pras shared. Not many teams are beating other teams by 4+ goals. So, like, what is our view of what is a good fixture? And largely speaking, the information in the last 4 weeks is also going to change so much, which is one of the biggest advantages of the late wildcard, actually, Pras, that you mentioned, because which teams are fighting for somebody, which teams are not fighting for somebody. Beach comes into picture, etc. as well, where, okay, this team has completely switched off, let's not bother with them. All those information is going to be important, I guess, in the last 4 game weeks.
And this is something I wanted to talk to you guys in general, and Rico has been saying this in our Discord very early on in the season. Has the Premier League become largely fixture inelastic now? There's not that much difference today between a team in, let's say, 6th and 14th. When we look at it in terms of fixture difficulty, do we now start prioritizing good assets and form slightly above fixtures now? This is perhaps more of a learning we can take as much as left of this season and into next year as well. Just hold the good assets.
Yeah. Fixture matters. It's just we don't overcorrect, but we adjust perception a little. Like that's all. Fixture still matters.
Because
Look
we've
at, I
had
mean,
some disappointment.
Chelsea.
We had two ends of it, right? For example, we bought Ekitic, I remember, for Leeds and Wolves or something like that. He did nothing. But then you got Palmer
Yeah,
for that good fixture
yeah,
and he did deliver. So you will have some sort of variance there in that extent, but it's not necessarily something we need to make a pivot on, because ultimately I think we need to start thinking about also now who we sell rather than just who we are buying. Because ultimately, if a good
exactly,
asset can still deliver points even during a difficult run of fixtures.
exactly. And that's where maybe short-term data comes into play as well, right? Like we now know that West Ham are in a decent run of form. Yes, they performed poorly against Liverpool and conceded a few goals. But they're in a decent run of form defensively and in attack as well. So I don't know, man. A little bit of diving deeper into matchups might help in such a situation as well.
This number is staggering, isn't it? Just 6 games. And it coincides with what we're seeing, because we haven't had any one game where you feel like you're getting an avalanche of points. There have been very few weekends as such where you feel, oh my God, I'm just drowning in points.
Unless you own Chelsea assets.
Pretty much. That to just Joao Pedro, and I guess to Palmer to an extent as well.
Yeah.
So, anything more to talk about the chip discussion, guys? Any sort of roundup somebody want to do?
One question, like, is there, Pras, is there benefit to like getting rid of the bench boost pre-wildcard, or just wait and see how the lay of the line comes? Because Crystal Palace might be an opportunity in case Liverpool wins. So what's your thinking there? So
You answered
because
it. I was going to say, if you think Man City win, if you told me right now that Man City are going to beat Liverpool for sure, then I would say get rid of a bench boost. It's not that important. Especially you, who's got a triple captaincy chip as well. You could free hit in 1 week, triple captain in the other week, and attack the other two doubles as well. For people who don't or don't have a triple captaincy, I would say just wait, man. Like you may get a good bench boost score this week, but if it's a single game week, it can be any other week as well. You don't have to get rid of it as such, because now we know that almost certainly there's going to be two doubles. So that's how I would think about it. Also, I know our teams look good, but remember, this is the week between Champions League. Random things happen. People get ill. People miss out. They get knocks. Like, would the same conversation be happening on a Friday after the Champions League rounds and the Europa League rounds are finished? I don't know. Even if there's one guy who has a little bit of a knock, then you're like, okay, I won't do it.
yeah, it's important because on our Discord, so many people were looking at this week for a bench boost. So what is the opportunity cost that was worth analyzing? And then I also think more than fixtures, we also have the benefit of DEFCON guys. So let's say you haven't found a week until 35 and you're looking to wildcard in 35. Just find one fixture where you have decent DEFCON guys on the bench and just target that week. That's it, which might not be a double week. So that's what you do if you're going for a late wildcard.
Before we move on to the Haaland, Joao Pedro, etc. discussion, guys. So right now, what are you thinking about your chip strategy, LR?
It's so soon to process everything, right? Also, right?
I know early thoughts, because I know you won't be doing your team selection later in the week, so I wanted to get your thoughts more so now. We can always, Pras and I can always dive deeper in our team selections, why we are doing something.
At the moment, it's either a wildcard 32 or a wildcard 35. And I actually haven't decided what between. I also think it can just be a late decision because you want to see what team form is looking like, etc. as well. And like, because United could be rubbish for the next 2 weeks and Leeds could just defensively improve. Then I'm seeing that fixture in 32 of United versus Leeds a little differently maybe. And if Chelsea continue their attacking form in terms of scoring goals no matter what the opposition, then I'm thinking I don't mind Chelsea's attack against City also, for example, because they're good in attack at the moment and they're scoring goals at the moment. So maybe I'll take the chance because I think they have enough to play for until the end of the season, right? I can make this call a little later. And I don't think whether I make the call now, whether I make the call later affects my transfers this week too much. Yeah, that's where I am in terms of my strategy at the moment. Like whether I'm going to sell Erling Haaland or not, which is the big decision for me, which is the big decision for most of us this week, is actually not that dependent on what my chip strategy is as things stand. Because a lot is actually dependent on that Liverpool versus City game, which will dictate a lot of chip strategy.
Plus, am I right
in the
saying
FA Cup?
You are probably right now on free hit 33, wildcard 35?
If Man City win, and if Liverpool win, then wildcard 32, bench boost 33. But what LR said is actually the most important thing is to right now make transfers in a way which keep you flexible and keep you chip agnostic. And examples of this are and I've talked about this in my team selection video as well, that if you're if you're at the moment selling Man City for Liverpool, you're keeping your chips, you're being chip agnostic, because you could carry on with somebody like a Salah instead of Haaland for 32 and 34, or you could wildcard in 32, doesn't matter. Like either is fine because Haaland blanks in 31 anyway. That's a good example of it. If you're looking to buy a midfielder, buying a Man United midfielder, for example, if you're looking for an Mbumo or a Cunha, it could also keep you chip agnostic because they have a good fixture in 31 and they have a fixture in 32, a good fixture in 32 and 34. If you're looking for example, maybe don't go for a Fulham player at the moment, because even though they have a good fixture in 31, it doesn't make it easy in 32 if you wanted to play in 32. So it's stuff like that that you need to think about it. Ultimately, what everybody needs to do is roll forward your team. You can do it on FPL.team, you can do it on Solio, wherever you want to go, and roll forward your team to Gameweek 32, see what it looks like, compare it to a wildcard and see, would I do it when I landed on this even after my transfers? Compare that team in 34 then. Roll forward to even 34 and then go, how different would my free hit look to this team? And then do the reverse. Do what my wildcard 32 would look like in game week 35 when I potentially could wildcard. Is that a good team? Do I want to keep that team? And so on and so forth. We will do this over the international break. We'll have a lot of time. We'll show you guys a free hit in 34. We'll show you a free hit in other weeks or 33. And then we'll show you a wildcard draft of 32. We'll show you a wildcard draft of 35. And then you can see what fits best for your team, because we're now working off margins. Some people's teams could be better set up for free hit 33. Some people's teams could be. You'll already start to see people who have Wilson will start saying wildcard 32 is better. People with Dango would start saying free hit 33 is better. It's just small things like this, because Wilson has a bad fixture in 32 and Dango has a great fixture in 32. People with a second Man United midfielder will start talking about free hit 33 because Man United have a great fixture in 32 and 34. People without Mbumo will start saying actually wildcard 32 is not so bad. It's just these marginal differences. Remember who is talking. Here on this pod, everybody has Dango and Mbumo. That's why free hit 33 appeals to us more than somebody who doesn't have them.
And like you mentioned, Pras, this FPL team already has the fixtures in, so people want to go have a play around over there. They can already have a look at the 33 and 34 blanks, how the teams would look. Sorry, Ella, go ahead.
Correct.
If City win the Liverpool game, Palace will have a double later anyway, right? Because the 31 game needs to get rescheduled.
Yes, so Palace will almost 99% have a double game week 36. Question is, will they have it in 33 or not?
So the way I see it, because one other thing that jumped out to me is if you're building a bench boost on a wildcard 32, Palace actually have a decent fixture in game week 33, which is West Ham United at home. So even if you're looking to build a bench boost 33, keeping Palace in mind for the future and keeping wildcard teams in the mind for the future, that sort of plays into it, because you're going to have some City, fair enough, good end towards the season. You're going to have some Chelsea, some Newcastle, fair enough, some Arsenal, fair enough. And then you just bench some Palace guys because they have West Ham at home in 33. So that also plays into a decent wildcard.
But if it's 32. If it's a single game week bench boost, ultimately what you're saying is I'll have Palace guys on my bench. It's single game week. Then my counter is you're ruining your 32 team to bench boost single game week players. Then why are you ruining your game week 32 team?
Yeah, because you can get them on
31.
free hit anyway. Yeah, because you can get them on free hit anyway. Yeah, fair enough. Because you can get those Arsenal, City, Chelsea guys on free hit 33 anyway. That's the point, right? Exactly. Yeah, man. Fair.
Oh, you've gone mute? Steam frozen.
Oh, hold up. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, sorry. I was on mute. Now it's fixed up. Sorry
okay,
about that. Yep. So what I was mentioning is, what I was thinking is free hit right now in 33, primarily because let's say I buy Salah and Ekitike now, and I already have a couple of Manchester United players, and it makes sense. I get the Leeds at home, Fulham at home fixture in 32, and then in 34 I get Brentford at home and Palace at home. And when they have the weaker fixtures, let's say Chelsea away and Everton away, that's when I can free hit them out and get them back in 34. And similarly in 35 is when the fixtures fade a little bit, sell them. So as of now, that sort of makes sense. And like you said, it's also a little bit transfer chip agnostic in the sense I can change that strategy. You have that flexibility in the future.
This assumes Man City win though, right? So I'm
Yes, this
completely
assumes
in
Man City
agreement
win.
with you if Man City win. So I will be rooting for Man City, unfortunately, in this FA Cup because I want to go little different chip strategy. Because also our teams are not too different, and this also helps you go a little different now. Like you can sell Haaland for Salah. I think that's going to be a popular. Whether you do it this week or next week depends on your team, depends on how much you think Haaland is going to start against West Ham. We'll get into that bus team wise. But this is why people are talking more about shall we sell Haaland for a Salah, or if you don't like Salah, words you can sell him for João Pedro, whoever you want. I think
Farmer.
selling Haaland now, sell him for Farmer if you like. It makes sense because it keeps you chip agnostic. Doing it for Chelsea though only means that then you after the blank land into Man City at home. Again, you may have a different view. You may say Man City at home is a good fixture. I don't mind them, but I prefer Salah at home to Fulham in that case.
Yeah.
Move on to the chip
Agree.
discussion.
Because
guys.
Liverpool have a good 30 and 32, which is just the fact. They have a nice two fixtures.
We were talking of 31, also a great fixture for Brighton. They absolutely thrashed Brighton in the FA Cup as well. Good matchup for Liverpool as well.
Yeah, good matchup. Good matchup. But just the one thing is Brighton's defensive numbers have improved considerably. That's all. In the midterm. That's all.
The one con, I think, for balance, I think we should also give some cons for Game Week 35 wildcard because we have been a little bit too optimistic on it. Game Week 35 wildcard.
We've done a decent job of devil's advocate, like in terms of. But go on.
So if you'll go back to the fixtures from Game Week 35 onwards of that fixture ticker that you had. So what will happen is in Game Week 35, when you will wildcard your team, you'll be tempted to load up on probably Aston Villa because you want to bench boost in 36, right? But Aston Villa's fixtures after Game Week 30 in Game Week 37, 38 are terrible. Right, so if you load up on Aston Villa for your bench boost in Game Week 36, they play Liverpool and then Man City. So not great. Although how many would you have from Liverpool, from Aston Villa anyway? Maybe Rodgers, back to Rodgers. So Zoph, if you're on that strategy, you'll have Zoph, you'll have Rodgers on Game Week 36. Then talk about Crystal Palace. A lot of people will want to get Crystal Palace for that fixture, but they also play Arsenal in Game Week 38. So your Game Week 38 team actually looks a little ugly. Now your counter could be that, look, I have transfers, I can deal with that. It's the dead end anyway. I'll have a squad of 15 players and I can deal with it then. But it's just something that I want to bring to people's attention. Even Brighton, who people will want because they play Wolves at home, play Man United at home. So that Game Week 38 looks pretty bad if your team is full of Brighton, who play Man United, Aston Villa, who play Man City, and Crystal Palace, who play Arsenal. And by that time, if Man City are also out and the league is finished, then you're suddenly scrambling for Game Week 38. I think that's a con that was worth, I think, me highlighting. But you deal with that in Game Week 35.
Also, actually, no, it can't be too late because if you're not wildcarding in 32, you're definitely free hitting in 33, which is a good week. So, yeah.
Guys, let's have a look at some of the images you guys sent me. Let's start with discussing Arsenal first, how their data is trending.
Sorry, wait.
Go ahead.
Can we go to the fixture ticker? One couple of other questions just to discuss because the impact of that now, does that mean that we can't sell Morgan Rogers if we're looking to hold on to playing our guys in Game Week 30?
No, Rogers can be a sell. If you're actually looking at playing through, and of course his only good fixture until 34 is the blank Game Week 31 fixture, which is home to West Ham. But apart from that, he's okay now. Like you don't have to have him. But you'll feel bad that you sold him. If you wildcard in 32, you're like, he had 50% of his fixtures were great and I sold him. But if you're carrying through, then actually selling him is not the end of the world.
No, because he's got a confirmed fixture in 34. So that's where I came from in terms of just people that...
Thiago has a confirmed fixture. Otara has a confirmed fixture. Bruno has a confirmed fixture. Mbumo has a confirmed fixture. So your team already, Bournemouth have a great fixture in 34. Fulham have a great fixture in 34. So team looks fine. In 34, the team looks great. And Liverpool, obviously, out if they lose, because we're in that scenario in which Liverpool have lost and they are home to Crystal Palace. So team looks great. One other con, Ekitike might not be nailed by Game Week 34. A lot of people have Ekitike who would be on that strategy. So another thing to think about.
Got it. So in terms of whether you're buying Wilson or Tavernier, or Utara as your midfielder of choice, it doesn't matter in terms of they all have decent confirmed fixtures in 34.
But not 32.
Yeah.
So if
it
you're
depends
looking
on.
to roll through,
I mean,
then
Liverpool
you want a good
isn't
fixture in
as
32 as
bad
well.
a fixture, I think, for Wilson.
Yeah,
Just
it's
in
not
terms of how
bad.
leaky
It's not
they've
bad.
been. Obviously not for the
Yeah.
defenders, but in terms of Fulham attackers, I don't think it's a bad fixture against his old club.
Yeah. Cool. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Then we can get into the personal things. Yeah. Because just the impact of what you can and can't do now was a little important. That's all.
Cycling back to Vince McMahon's Arsenal, the data, the way it's going in terms of both ways, I guess XGC numbers are pretty consistent. It's gotten slightly worse, but the XG numbers have recently plummeted, and this is a 6-game rolling average, right, Elad? You had sent me this.
Yeah, this is a 6-game rolling average. It's just very poor general XG. Arsenal are sitting, I think, 10th for XG in the last 6, by the way. Like 10th. The league leaders are sitting 10th for XG in the last
You
6.
can just feel
That's
the
just
hate,
staggering.
can't you, Pras?
That's just
Sorry?
staggering, man.
The
Can you
hate,
imagine
this is
that the
flowing.
league leaders in the league are sitting
much.
10th for XG?
You don't think they'll win the league, right, Ella?
No, I think they might win the league. I think the league is now theirs. After what happened last weekend in terms of results, I think they'll have to do very poorly to drop the league from there. And they've got a great last 4. So I think they've got it.
Yeah, that makes a
suit up
big
now.
difference.
Yeah. Like the pressure in a tricky tie becomes later. So it's just worth pointing out in terms of attacking assets. You just have, because they're sitting second for set piece XG threat in the last 6. You want to guess who's number 1 for set piece XG last 6?
Chelsea?
Liverpool.
No. Newcastle United.
Oh, yeah.
So one player actually going a little under the radar. So the last 6 big chances amongst defenders, it's Nico Raleigh and Van Dijk are tied, and there's Malik Thiaw with them, who's tied for big chances in the last 6 games. Just thought it interesting.
Eddie Howe likes his set pieces even from the Bournemouth days.
Yeah.
So, but what impact does it have on FPL wise? Hold the defenders, but Rice sellable? Is that what we take from it?
Yeah. And Rice also not a compulsory sell at any point. Like, but he's sellable. Like now, if you're saying that you're doing Rice to Tavernier this week, I will not stop you. I think it's a good move.
Or Rice to Wilson. I still think Forest could be a decent fixture, for example.
Yeah.
It could be a funding move you need, let's say, to raise money for Salah.
Exactly. Go on. Just wanted that comment.
We do the Chelsea's discussion.
Yeah,
now.
you can do Chelsea, but then show the rolling XG data first, which was quite staggering.
This one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the thing here is that Chelsea have had good fixtures also in the last 6-8 games, but their rolling XG number in the last 6 and in general under Rosner has been staggering. Like I was looking at the numbers and they were first for XG last 6 at like 15, and the next best team was City at 11. Like they're clear by 4 XG compared to the next best, and of course a lot of that is penalty. So I looked at NP XG last 6 and they were like 11 and City were 8. So they're far and above in terms of just general open play threat, etc., that they're creating and playing. So it's just something we need to take into account, where Chelsea have just improved as an attack, and therefore João Pedro has improved insanely as an attack. He's just a completely different player than what we were used to. Like earlier, João Pedro was a guy who used to be averse to shots, never take any shots, etc. Like the biggest stat that jumped out to me, before Rosner, 0.6 big chances per game. After Rosner, 2 big chances per game. That's staggering in terms of just generally what he's getting as underlying data. Like he's getting on the end of things. He's getting shots. He's like 0.84 XG plus XG assisted per game is like Haaland levels. Genuinely, it is peak Haaland levels in terms of the underlying data in a short sample size that come under Rosner in good games. But you know what stood out to me was his performance against Arsenal. Like I thought Chelsea were good value for a couple of goals against Arsenal. They had 1+ XG in that game as well, which is why the underlying numbers for him, he's top for XG, XGI, shots in the box, big chances amongst all attackers in the last 6. So we do need to pay attention to him. He's not the João Pedro we thought he was back in the day.
Is he still the João
As a
Pedro?
Chelsea fan, has his role changed when you're watching them?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. He's completely right now goal hanging. One thing you notice very specifically under Maresca, he very rarely made runs beyond the line. Now that's pretty much all he's doing. He's very rarely coming back to receive the ball deep. And I saw another analysis on Sky. I sent you guys some screenshots in the morning. Most of the runs he's making are not like the ones to receive the ball at all. Most of the runs are beyond the defender. It's a completely different role, much more goal hanging. And you look at the XG against Villa, something like 2.45, all open play.
3 point something, 3.4 for him alone.
For him alone. So it's
Yeah.
ridiculous, the chances he's getting. But again, in terms of rotation, what about something like this weekend, something if Chelsea progress in the Champions League? How do you think that's going to play out now? Given his importance to the team, the way he's playing, I don't think he's going to be dropped. But at the same time, if you're going to get this sort of 6 day turnarounds, do we see some sort of minutes management potentially?
I'd worry about Palmer. I'm not worried about Pedro. Like, in terms of fitness, Pedro's like a little bit like a Bruno kind of guy, where he's just robust. Like, he doesn't get injuries, he doesn't get injured, he plays minutes, etc. So that's my perception when it comes to Joao Pedro. Like, it's going to be like a Timber sort of a situation where you maybe see one benching in 6 games. But the league is just very important, and the FA Cup game is the game where he's going to get benched. It's clear he's playing the first choice games.
Russ can't even look at the screen when we talk about Joao Pedro. Is he still the Joao Pedro we thought, Russ?
There has never been a player in FPL who I loved so much when he was at Brighton and I hate so much when he was at Chelsea. The transformation is, you remember, like Joao Pedro was the main reason why I started so strong last year. And he was good value, man. He was 5.5 million. He was taking penalties, playing 90 minutes. The underlying assumption was at the beginning of the season that will not be the case. He will not be on penalties. He will not play 90 minutes. And Delap was there. Then Delap gets injured. He starts playing 90 minutes. Then things happen where you get him in and then he doesn't take a shot for 5-6 weeks. And then Champions League starts and you're like, okay, now Palmer is also back. He'll hog the XG. No, I'm here. So with Palmer, I just don't have anything to say, man. Like he's an okay pick, but if I have to wildcard in 32, he'll probably be in my team. If I have to free hit in 33, he'll probably be in my team. But I'm not going to praise him. I don't like him.
It's personal with Pedro and Pras at the moment, I reckon.
Because and Semenyo is a whole other story as well. But this is the thing. Like I can bet, that optimized chart where it's like the players who hurt you the most. There is no doubt that Semenyo and Joao Pedro are at the top. Whenever I have not owned them, and there is a goal alert, I am sure that it's either Joao Pedro or Semenyo who has scored. And I don't know if I shared the story on the Scout stream I did earlier. I was this Wednesday evening, the games that happened, I was at a quiz night at my daughter's school. So you're not allowed mobile phones. So it was happening during the games, and the quiz night finished at 10 p.m. And I open the phone and I'm looking at these BBC alerts: Joao Pedro, Semenyo, Joao Pedro. I'm like, no, this must be some kind of a mistake. Like maybe it's like double counting or something is happening. I go on the app. So my relationship with them is highly toxic. I don't think I can give an informed opinion as a content creator on these two players.
I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
Appreciate the honesty. But it is worth just generally taking into note that there's a role change up, and he's not the short agnostic Joao Pedro that we knew back in the day. And so we need to consider getting him in, because otherwise he'll keep hurting us, because I don't see this changing at the moment unless Chelsea's form drastically dips.
He's just attempted 6 assists over the last, I think, 12 game weeks, but he's got obviously 6 FPL assists. I don't think any of them are from actually passing the ball.
He's penalty winner, right? It's like he's basically what Sterling was.
Shot.
Yeah. So yeah.
But it'll be interesting. Look, I think because we're potting before the European games, even something as simple as let's say Chelsea get hammered by PSG, that can change the perception of Wildcard 32. Because then you're like, actually, Chelsea picks are fine because they don't have Champions League anymore. And so maybe I can think about going Chelsea because probably Chalobah starts all the games. Palmer gets a lot of minutes. Joao Pedro gets a lot of minutes. Those are 3 solid picks in isolation. But if you put Champions League in the middle, then you're like, is he going to start? Colville's now coming back. Is Chalobah even going to start every single game? It becomes a little bit iffy in all 3 positions, in my opinion.
I will say though, Pras, that I think he'll start. Like why I'm saying this is because 5 weeks ago I took a gamble, right, on Palmer in terms of generally will he play, will he not play? Chelsea are not compromising the league at the moment. Like given their model, etc., coming into the top 5 is probably more important than winning the Champions League given their model. It's that important for them, the top 5. So I don't think they're going to compromise their first choice players in the league. Just how I see it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because he's even playing Palmer 3 days apart. Like he's not even compromising there. So it tells a story that.
So Pras, tell me now, if you're looking to potentially get rid of Haaland, who are you looking to get if not Joao Pedro?
Bowen.
Interesting. Why is that?
So this is why I'm open to doing it either this week or next week. Bowen's home to Man City, which is okay if I have to do it this week. But next week he's home to Wolves. Game week 32. No, it's game week 32 when he's home to Wolves. Game week 34, he's got another great home game. I forget now. Let me bring this up.
I can look at
Game week 34, he's home to Everton. So I'm looking for a striker who can get me a great fixture who plays in 31, who has a great fixture in 32 and has a great fixture in 34, and Bowen fits the bill. So that's why I would prefer him. I'm not saying Bowen is better than João Pedro, but I'm just saying for that particular, I think Bowen leaves all chip strategy options open for me if I go for him rather than anybody else.
Because Pedro pushes you into thinking about 32 a lot more.
Yes, because in 34 you have the likely blank over there we're looking at, and also Ekitike also checks all those boxes plus what you're talking about.
Yes,
31,
exactly.
32, and
if I
34,
didn't have,
but you already
Ekitike
own
would
it.
be the one. Yeah, absolutely. And DCL is maybe the third in that list that keeps you chip agnostic. Very good 31, not great 32, but 34 is also okay.
I just want to actually bring to your attention though, Pras, because Zoph, if you go through the attacker data.
Yes.
NPXGI last 6.
By the way, I must give a plug now for the AI tools, guys. It's the data you see over here. I run it through Gemini to make it more presentable. I felt that the data we're getting from the scout tables was not so readable. So give me your feedback. How you like this new presentation? Sorry, Alal, go ahead.
Yeah. And shout out to Jazzy for steering us in the right direction as well. But look at that. This is sorted by NPXGI Plus. Like look at 6.26 and next best 3.75. Like it's just worth bringing to your attention so that you don't get into like a corner.
The skeptic in me will always say, this is proof of not that João Pedro is a great pick. It's proof that good fixtures bring good data. He's played Wolves, Burnley, Wolves, and West Ham in 4 out of the last 5 games. So his last 6 is high, which goes back to, yes, fixtures always matter. Will he do it in against next 5? I could be wrong, and the answer could be yes, and then I missed it. But I'm willing to say that if his fixtures are harder, he's not going to be double of the second.
Fair enough. I just wanted to, because what stood out to me is the data is staggering. Like it's not like average. Like 1 XG per game is insane. Like 1 XGI per game is genuinely insane. So like we need to pay more attention to this than we are. That's all.
And also if you shave off, let's say we mentioned about the Villa game, 2.14, let's say you shave it down to, let's say 1. It's still very good.
Yeah.
And we knock about 1.5 over there, you're still talking about something like 4.755.
Yeah. And I was telling you, right, Zoph, like my perception of him was he's always an elite finisher, but he was never getting the chances. But now he's getting volume, plus he's an elite finisher. So I think Rosena has recognized that he's probably, with Palmer, his best finisher in the game. So let's just put him closer to the goal. That's all.
Rosena has done a good job with it. Credit to him.
And even the FA Cup, right? Did you see the goal? Like, Garnacho was open. He's like, no, I'm not giving you. I'm right now a mentality monster. I'm going to put it in the corner of the goal. It just speaks of a good player in form at the moment. So, yeah.
Getting back to
any other things that jump out to you from this table while we're looking at the attackers table?
I also wanted to point out over here, now something I noticed over here, I introduced a new column, XG per shot, non-penalty. Now this, of course, refers to the quality of shots the player is getting. Look at 0.27 over there. It's by far the highest in the table. So the quality of chances very consistently high. You see Palmer 0.16 is the same as Ekitike. Nobody else is close. The only guy who's getting there is Thierno Barry. And he doesn't get the chances to classify that. That's 7 chances versus 21 for Pedro. I think this is a column we should really be paying attention to going forward.
It's in congruence with Chelsea also, because Chelsea are sitting since Rosner somewhere 8th or 9th for shots. But they are by far the highest big chances accumulated 26. Since Rosner has come into play. So that's also something in terms of just generally how they're playing. But Pras is also right in terms of you filter that down a little because fixtures exist and they've taken advantage of the easier fixtures.
They also had Arsenal in there, to be fair.
Yeah.
And Villa is also like a medium fixture now, you would say. Not even a tough
Villa
fixture.
Played into their hands. You know, Villa has one of these games. Villa has like 2 or 3 of these X-crumble games against good teams where it doesn't work, and that's a very high line that they give away possession to quality players that can take advantage of that as well. So that could happen with United this week. You never know as well. But they have that X-crumble game in them where they concede too many chances to a high line. I remember it happening a couple of times in the last season as well.
Yep.
Speaking of XG per shot, I want to talk about your best mate Morgan Rogers. He's actually in the last 6, sitting in the top 3 or 4 for shots taken, but only one big
Guys playing
chance
badminton, man.
out of exactly that. That's a good one. Plus 18 shots and 0.05 XG per shot. That probably the poorest on the
I
table you
hate
see
him
here.
so much.
Yeah, man.
The
That's
first
Morgan
7
Rogers for
game
you.
weeks and now the last 7 or 8. It's awful.
But plus, we know what's going to happen, right? People are going to
Of
sell him in
course.
droves, and he's going to score
And
a volley against us. It's just going to happen.
Speaking of Manchester United, some data you sent me, let's just skim through really quick. This is now data before Carrick and after Carrick. Minutes per XG have actually gotten worse, but the defense has gotten a lot better. Obviously, fixtures have been played a part in it, right? You've had some tough games under Carrick. Rosinier also we discussed.
No, we not had some tough games, some easy games. The minutes per XG probably comes down because of the easier games, not the tough games in general when it comes to our data.
Because
we
found the
haven't
easier
figured
game
out how to
stuff.
play.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes actually more sense. Rosinier, we already mentioned a little bit earlier. The data per XG has gone significantly better, and the defense has actually all improved as well. So improvement at both ends of the pitch, but again mitigated by fixtures over there. There you actually have had significantly easier fixtures. Some numbers here for the Manchester United players you want to walk us through, Ella?
Just Bruno, man. 0.5 XA per XG. But I just looked a little deeper into the data. In the last 6, he's got like something like 4.7, 4.8 XGI. 60% of that is XA. So his shot volume has gone down a little in terms of what's happening. And I think that sort of gets a little bit extrapolated, especially if Sesco comes into the picture as well. He's not getting as many big chances as he did back in the day. One stat that blew my mind, in the last 6, Elliot Anderson has taken more shots than Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno doesn't need shots, man.
I know. Just some data in terms of what's happening in the trend since Carrick, etc. as well. Because I just took some time to look into the members.
Now Villa's a good game. Bournemouth is a good game.
Yeah. For Bruno, for Bumo, both in my opinion.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That earlier table we looked at, I think Bruno was 4th or 5th, despite having something like 0.3 or 0.4 XG. The XA numbers
so XA is very, very high. He's
very high.
Yeah. And he has better players around him to finish chances too.
Something on West Ham you've also sent me, just a short note on them.
Yeah, for Pras, because they're much better in attack now, because 97 minutes per XG before Nuno comes into play, and now it's a 77 minutes per XG. So their attack has actually improved. And that shows that if you think about the Liverpool game also, they could have scored 3 or 4 goals against Liverpool. It just wasn't their day. So their attack is decent, which makes Bowen a decent asset. Like that.
Something to watch. Somerville went off, could be injured. He was very important part of their, he's their Hudson Odoi or Ilanga kind of Nottingham Forest equivalent.
I would even dial it back to the Wolves days, like when we had Jota, Jimenez and the other pacey guys on that side. It's very similar layout what he's playing at West Ham now, but instead with a 4.
So something to keep in mind. But look, with the thinking with Bowen is just steady pick. Now he's taking penalties for sure. Last night got a brace. Looks good. 90 minutes every game, reliable. If you want to go long term in your strategy, right, then a player like that helps.
And motivation isn't going to die. They are in it. Yeah. You think who do you think is the third team to get relegated?
Can we please say Tottenham?
Interesting chat. Where do you think it happens now? I do think West Ham are the most likely out of the Forest, Spurs and West Ham to stay up, in my opinion, given their form, etc.
Oh, you think to stay up? I was going to say most likely to go down.
I was going to say West Ham to go down as well, because again, I still can't fathom Spurs going down, but they are obviously playing the worst out of all those.
Yeah, West Ham is playing well. Like West Ham is good value for money in most games now.
Disasi has been fantastic for them.
They've kept 3 clean sheets in the last 5 also. So it's just not the back that they've tightened up. Even at the front, Somerville and Bowen is clicking.
Yeah, the Somerville thing is big. If he actually has a problem, then I would tilt the scales towards West Ham. Right now, I would say Spurs.
Yeah.
It's tight. We actually have a title race, a top 4 race, or a top 5 race, and a relegation race.
Yeah. And a beach team beating everybody who comes across them at the moment.
Exactly.
Have you seen that Mario Kart GIF where the guy is just like standing out across the finish line, just throwing turtles across everyone? That's what Wolves are doing right now.
Yeah, man. Aranya thinks Leeds might go down. They're not out of it yet.
Yeah,
Just
Wolves
some
like Leeds, Sunderland. Suddenly they're now looking like,
Sunderland have
we
crossed
were
40 though, right?
expecting
I
2
think
weeks.
40, once you've crossed 40, you're pretty much fine.
yeah, but
You'll
Leeds are
need
a little
40.
bit worried.
How many
You'll
points
need
are Leeds
40
on
this
now?
year.
I think they're 3 or 4 points above the drop zone.
Yeah,
That's just scary.
they're very much in it.
Yeah.
But I think, like we mentioned, the fixture run is quite good towards the end. The last 4-5 game weeks, the run-in is quite nice.
Actually, Sunderland are fine. They're 11th. Sorry, Sunderland fans. I know. I'll say sorry before the comments come. No, Leeds could get dragged.
Right.
This
Good
is just
stuff.
some Haaland numbers in the first 20 games versus Gameweek 21 onwards, which is the last 10 game weeks. As you can see, his goals, his XG, his shots in the box have pretty much gone down by at least 35 to 40%. And that's obviously because of the shift in the formation. That said, his creativity has gone up. He's gone from 0.6 to 1.1 chances created. Against Forest, City took 21 shots. Haaland had only 2. When was the last time something like this has happened? So for people that are looking to sell Haaland, this is a little bit of liquid courage.
Did you guys see the Newcastle game in the FA Cup? They were amazing. They were
Without
incredible.
Haaland.
Yeah.
Like that fluidity in the attack with Semenyo, Marmoush. Like, no, Semenyo didn't start. But anyway, Savinho and Doku and Marmoush, it was really good. Like really fluid. They cut through Newcastle so easily. Man, it's like not to scaremonger, but they may come to this conclusion that, man, maybe keep Haaland for it could flip, by the way. It could be, if it's a low block kind of team, then I need Haaland for the West Ham game. Maybe I don't need them for the Real Madrid game kind of thing. But look, obviously we expect Haaland to start and him to do all right. But is he worth 15 million is basically the question.
I don't see it though personally because I saw Marmoush in a couple of games before and he was terrible. He literally worst player on the pitch. And it's actually something that Pep mentioned in his post-match presser after Newcastle. He actually said it's good to see Marmoush actually be a little better in tight spaces because he struggled with that in the past as well. West Ham though, like if you remember, if you think of Erling Haaland, when he entered the scene, his first hat-trick was, I think, against West Ham away. If you think about back in the days.
So the
First
brace
game,
after
Game Week
flopping in the Community Shield.
Yeah. When
Many
most
people went
sold
Kane.
him.
No, they went Kane in Game Week 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
He's
remember
got 11 goals in 7 games against West Ham. One of his favorite oppositions.
I mean, we can talk about Haaland generally. I don't think there's any issue keeping him and captaining him. It'll depend on his minutes against Real Madrid, what you feel, whether he'll start, how many minutes he will get. And I don't think there's any issue selling him either. I think it's one of those things where, and we said the exact same thing last week, where if you think he's going to start West Ham, then play him, captain him.
Yeah.
Looking at captaincy though now for the next few weeks, now we're looking at the West Ham fixture. Okay, potentially captainable, but again, I do think minutes could be dodgy because I'm expecting him to start against Madrid, and obviously 80 plus minutes does seem very likely, and you'd expect him to start the second leg as well. Again, we're talking Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday. They play at 8 p.m. on the Saturday, and then after that, in terms of captaincy, 32 Chelsea away. Not really looking at it. If they beat Liverpool, then they will have the double, but we could potentially free hit him in. Then 34, he would be blanking. And 35, again, Everton away. Could captain him, but again, not the best captaincy fixture. So again, this week is really the best fixture to captain him over the next 5 to 6, right?
Yeah.
And we think minutes could, again, be unpredictable.
But Spurs were so bad, man. Spurs were so bad.
The Spurs, why do Spurs come into it?
As in,
Liverpool.
I'm talking even this week, like his rival captaincies are better.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because even United against Villa is decent because Villa are playing away to Lille on Thursday.
Yep.
And even the punty captains are good. Like if somebody wants to go for a Tavernier against Burnley, given what he did. By the way, Tavernier owners, just a little bit of a hug to you guys. I have no idea how you came away with no attacking returns in that game. He could have had 5. It was that bad, and like that's how badly we got away with murder in that game. So a Tavernier punt against something like Burnley also, if you want to fancy. There's enough captaincy options this week, next week.
So what are we thinking, guys? All of us currently own Haaland. What are we thinking right now?
I want to see how things look in the Champions League, how he looks in the Champions League, and then take a call. And it's just not him. It's how Liverpool look, how Chelsea look, because I might, if I'm selling Haaland, I'm buying into Chelsea or Liverpool, likely, right? So it depends on that also. So I'm open to it, not ruled it out.
What are you looking to see from each of the games with Chelsea now? Let's say if the tie is finally balanced, and I think the second leg is going to be at Stamford Bridge. It's hard to make a prediction then, or are you just going to be like Joao Pedro is going to start all remaining games anyway?
I'm not worried about minutes. I'm looking at more, is Haaland getting the big chances, etc. Sort
Okay.
of how sharp is he looking, things like that.
Because there's no
I'm
denying
not
that
worried about the
the game
minutes.
plan has changed a little bit in terms of goal share with Semenyo in there. We can't ignore that
Yeah.
aspect of it.
Agree, 100%.
I'm personally thinking I
Two
will.
shots out of 21. When does that happen in a team which has Erling Haaland?
I think I will be getting it because just looking at the way the landscape, the way it's playing out right now in terms of the Liverpool fixtures, I can get potentially Ekitike and Salah by selling Haaland, of course, with one other funding move. I think it's just making sense given this particular chip strategy I have in mind as of now, with a free hit in 33 and wildcard in 35, which of course is flexible with the Liverpool result.
Fair.
Yeah, no harm in it. Watching that Newcastle game, I couldn't help thinking that he could easily put out the same Doku, Savinho, Marmoush against West Ham and they'd lose nothing, like in their attack. Like, this is not to scare Semenyo owners, but I don't think anyone is safe for that West Ham game. So if you're looking to move Haaland this week, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you're looking to keep him a week, no problem. If it's all dependent on what minutes we expect. Maybe the solution is you keep him a week, and this is more true for the people who already own Ekitike, right? Like, we are not in a hurry to get rid of Haaland this week unless you're desperate to get Salah and Captain Salah, which in my case, I'm thinking it's not, between Salah cap and Bruno cap is not too much different in my view, because I already have Ekitike. So you don't have to do it this week, but certainly next week I'll probably do it. Either this week or next week, I'll definitely do it, because that keeps it chip agnostic in terms of you're on triple Liverpool, you've got Bowen, you've got Bruno, Mbumo, you've got double Brentford, and I think that team is solid if you want to keep going.
So
Just something on Haaland replacements also. Just personally, Newcastle haven't been defensively good also. So if you're looking to get Pedro, like Newcastle have conceded the highest number of big chances amongst everybody in the last 6 games. So they are offering these big chances, and Everton haven't looked defensively decent either. So from a fixture point of view, I think even those two are fine. Then the City fixture is a slightly tougher one. And then they probably most likely won't have a game in 34. So then you are sort of forced into using a wildcard in 32. So that's
Or a
what the
transfer.
problem with Pedro.
Can just
Or
transfer
a
him out
transfer.
as well. It's not that big a deal
or
ultimately,
just-
because I personally would like, I appreciate what Bowen's got, because Bowen also, right, we look at, he hasn't got many returns, but he's got 64 points over the last 12
Yeah.
game weeks. It's just like, what, 24 fewer than Pedro, and Pedro got a big chunk in the last game. So Bowen, the route through points are there with the DEFCON and assists as well as the goals.
24 points over 6 games is 4 points a game week. So it's pretty significant also.
Yep.
That's Elliot Anderson numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
We're looking at right now some of the duels from crowd FPL over there. Let's see where the crowd is voting now. First up in terms of captaincy this week, Bruno Fernandes and Ekitike is a very even split. Let's say 18 votes each. Haaland and Joao Pedro is also fairly even.
Wait. Before we do that, where are you leading at if you're thinking of these two for captaincy, Bruno or Ekitike, between the two?
I like routes to points, guys, man. I would go
Have some
Bruno.
respect. We cannot compare Bruno with Ekitike. Come on.
Because again, Ekitike minutes, I
I'm
think, will be
wondering
managed a little bit. But
Like if Ekitike gets 60-70 minutes, the X crumble in the
Tottenham.
Spurs game is very, very high.
Yeah.
And the matchup suits him.
There's no Van
It
der Ven,
genuinely
right?
suits
Because he
him.
got sent off in the
There's
last
no
one.
Van
They
der
didn't
Ven.
play the
Romero's
FA Cup.
Romero's back from
It's not
suspension.
necessarily a good thing, but
So
yeah.
X red card is even higher then.
Yeah. And X crumble is high, man. Like Spurs were terrible against Palace. Like
They
so
were.
many chances considered. So I do feel like Ekitike has like brace potential in this game. So I haven't
He
ruled him out.
does. Very much so. And most of the halls have come at home. But again, that's very close in terms of the crowd split over there. And that's a Tottenham factor over there. Any other fixture, we wouldn't see it be this close. And similarly with Haaland and Joao Pedro. You see, and I think potentially the rotation factor, there is a bit of place quite even. But you see Haaland and Ekitike, very, very clear split over there towards Ekitike.
Yeah. But I haven't ruled out captaining Haaland either. Like the spectrum of possibilities is so high.
It was the same last week. Like we were
Yeah.
talking about this, we could either sell Haaland or captain Haaland. We all captain Haaland, right?
Yes, we did.
He played
Yeah,
90
yeah.
minutes. It was the right thing to do. It's just sometimes players don't get points.
Yeah. Exactly.
Salah, Haaland is again favoring just towards Salah. And again, I think both the goals Salah has scored I think recently, not even recently, the other one was against Villa and Gameweek 10 have both been from back passes.
Zoph, if you get Salah, are you captaining Bruno or Salah?
Good question. I haven't really decided. I think it'll still be Bruno. I don't have as much trust in Salah.
I think if you get Salah, you have to.
I
go
will
for Salah.
captain Salah.
I might just
If I
YOLO it,
just
given,
have to.
given the way the rank has gone the last few weeks. I need a big boost, so I might just YOLO with
Yeah,
Salah.
and Spurs X crumble, man. It's just you have to go Salah if you get Salah, I reckon.
Yes, I think I might. It might be just. Remember, we did this with KDB last year. This is one final hurrah. This might be that for Salah.
Yeah.
Salah might be in your team till April, man.
I know, but might not
If you're on
captain
that,
him. Might not captain
Yeah,
him
it's
again
true.
because you get other captains. But what's interesting now, crowd FPL is not just human votes. A lot of the votes you see over here are from like AI stuff, like a Chat GPT, Gemini. I said GPT like this guy, Boris, right? Boris says it a real weird way. Have you seen those interviews, Pras? Boris
No.
can't say Chat GPT.
Oh, really?
Yep, he says Chat GPT.
Oh, yes, I think I have seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. You can in fact even see the votes, who's voted for who's Grok voted for, who's ChatGPT voted for, etc. by clicking on the duel, and then you can see which side of the votes who's voted for. So if you see any of us as users also voting, you can see who's voting for who as well, which is pretty interesting.
So they have the
And
filters now.
there's a new feature as well. As you can see under the players, there's also Solio's projected points. So that's also very nice that they have a collaboration with Solio. And so now you can also see essentially exactly the same thing that you'll see on the Solio website, and you can compare. Like in some cases, people are going against expected points, which I'm having a nosebleed at looking at. But it's fine. It's fine. It's for 1 week.
It's actually a great way to see everything in one place, right? You want to see what the projected points are looking like. You want to see which way the crowd is going for some of the decisions, and you want to play a game all together. So it just makes a lot of sense. So if you guys do want to play, it's a completely free to play game. Scan the QR code or go to crowdfpl.com or click on the link in the description below and get playing.
I'll just show you guys a new feature. I'm just going to enlarge this image. I found this pretty cool. It's called crowd power. So this is a single number based on 0 to 100 that reflects how strongly the community backs a player in a given game week. So it combines three things: the player's relative strength from head-to-head duels, protection against small sample sizes, and a confidence adjustment based on the volume of votes. So these are pretty much the 10 strongest players to own for this week. You see Bruno's up there, Semenyo, Ekitike, Salah, Haaland. It's always nice to see, like, where you're standing, how many of these players you own before every game week. These are the guys you should definitely consider starting or maybe even buying.
Yeah, and then they've introduced filters for teams, etc. as well. So if you want to get to a duel just for a specific team as well, you can do that with filters as well. So yeah, man, it's built by somebody from the community and we're liking it. So yeah, get playing.
Some numbers from Solio for this week in terms of goals. Liverpool are on top, I think by significant margin, 2.45. City, just about 2. Arsenal, projected to score 2 corners. Chelsea at 2. Brentford, 1.97. Clean sheet wise, obviously Arsenal on top. Liverpool and Brentford. I think clean sheet wise, there's nobody else even I think close to Arsenal. Everyone's below 40.
Yeah. Worth noting that Liverpool and City's expected goals is way higher than United's in terms of captaincy operations. So I want to see how that plays out into projected points as well. That's quite considerable distance.
Salah will be higher on projected points.
Yeah.
I think he's the highest on Solio. I had to look for this week. I think he's around 6.4. He's the highest of any player this week.
But Haaland is above Bruno, I feel, in terms of market odds.
Yes,
so
I think he's 6.2.
Close.
He was a recommended captain over Bruno when I checked last.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it depends on
if you see 70 minutes for votes, would you be tempted to go there if you can't get Salah?
I don't, man. I don't think so. I just think for the longer term now, especially now if I'm looking to set up with 32 and 34 in mind, Salah just feels far more robust.
I mean, when Wirtz was fit, Wirtz was doing more points than Salah.
Yeah, but they're going to get see, the thing is with Liverpool now, I think I highly back them to progress in the Champions League, given that they're playing Galatasaray. When are they again, the next round, they again might have a Wednesday, Tuesday, when things get a little bit iffy. Stuff like that might happen. With Salah, I'm just not worried about minutes. Maybe I should be, given how he's been playing recently.
Yeah.
I think Wirtz is good as well. I don't mind it. In a world where there's an alternate captain pretty much every week, which is going to be Bruno, because Liverpool's good fixtures and Man United's good fixtures basically are together. That is why we are talking about this alternative shift path where you have Salah Bruno structure rather than a Saka Haaland structure or Saka Haaland Palmer structure. So if you have an alternative captain in most weeks, which is Bruno, then if you want words and that works better for your structure, yeah.
Yeah. And it's not even alternate captains, right? Like you have these rogue captains also, like Wilson next week, Tavernier this week is completely fine. If you want to just like go that way, penalty takers, not Wilson's not a penalty taker, playing Burnley, it has its own merits.
Anything else to
Did you
unpack,
guys see Dango take that penalty yesterday?
The Panenka?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Is he gonna get like dropped for doing this pathetic penalty?
No worry, not gonna lie.
Not
well,
ideal.
Lewis Potter played on the left, so that meant that he played 120 minutes. So that's better for his minutes if Lewis Potter does play left back. But otherwise, yeah, that was not very, very nice of Dango.
Yep.
Move on to our teams, guys.
Our teams.
Yes.
Yep.
Like and subscribe
Before we
start. There we go.
Yes.
You do
Just
the
guys, hit like and subscribe. You guys have a couple more team selections as well. If you just enjoyed the sort of freestyle brainstorming, like today when three of us were talking, we spoke for 2 minutes and we're like, wait, this is good content for the pod. Let's not talk to each other. Let's save it for the pod. So we just genuinely come with sending some screenshots without an agenda so that you guys can see fresh thinking and fresh reaction to each other's ideas, which we think makes a good conversation. So if you appreciate that, hit like and subscribe. We'd be grateful.
Plus, your team first.
Right. So I've got Ryan Goal, Gabriel, Van Dijk, and Hill. So finally, I'm playing Hill. And then Rice, Bruno, Imbumo, and Dango. And then Haaland, Ekitike, and Thiago. So pretty much everyone has a good fixture. I don't need to do anything this week. So it will simply come down to my expectation of Haaland's minutes. I do have 2 free transfers, and there's some very cool moves I can do for free. Like I can do Pots to Tavernier for free. But then who would I bench if I did Pots to Tavernier? Maybe Rice, but that doesn't feel great benching Rice home to Everton. And it doesn't feel like that upside, right? Doing that transfer. Especially when Tavernier doesn't have a good... Or what? No, not. I won't bench boost this week. No way. I just think like anybody could miss out, and I think they're leaving the optionality of bench boost 33 if Liverpool win is good enough to wait, because I only have 2 chips left, or I don't have triple captaincy to account for. So I could do Tavernier for free, but I won't do that because I don't have then I'll have a benching dilemma. I could do Haaland to DCL and Pots to Salah for free, exact money, and bench DCL this week. That is a possibility. But after last night's result, like I talked about in the pod, I think my favorite move would be Rice and Haaland to Bowen and Salah. That would leave me money to do Dubravka to Leno in Gameweek 31. And if I then show you my team in Gameweek 32 and Gameweek 34, you can tell me how a free hit is better than that. Like this is not showing off. I'm just saying then that would be a team that would be great for 30, 31, 32 and 34. I will still deviate. If Liverpool win, I will wildcard in 32. Likely. But I am right now setting up to free hit in 33, and then we'll see how it evolves.
So why don't you do Bowen and Salah this week? Because I think Bowen could still do all right against City. Getting Salah at the main entry point is this week against Tottenham. That's the money fixture.
Yeah, but ultimately Rice at home to Everton and Haaland away to West Ham. You don't need to take 2 free transfers to move them out to 2 other players who are also good. But you can just keep it and go to 3. I'm open to it. If Haaland plays 90 minutes against Real Madrid, I'm doing it. If Haaland has even a small, like he's holding any part of his body for longer than 20 seconds, then I'm doing it. So I'm ready to do it, but also I don't think I need to do it. That's where I am.
Yeah, but we're in that part of the season now. It's game time. Like all 3 of us are chasing a decent rank also, right? Like once that is like... Every game week now is greater than 10% of the remainder of the season that you have. So each game week is very, very significant in terms of taking a shot that you need to as well. So, just wanted to add that. Because if you're going Salah, you have to go now.
I'm thinking more and more so that like this is the fixture much more so than Brighton.
No, I'm with you. But let's say I'm right now 55% just to roll, take 3 free transfers and then debate. But 45% I am there that I can do Haaland too. If Bowen didn't have Man City, I would have probably been 55 the other way. But to do 2 transfers and then take out Rice away to Everton for Rice home to Everton for Bowen home to Man City, it just doesn't feel that great.
I mean, Everton have conceded, I think, the fewest away goals in the league, I think, after Arsenal.
Yeah, but Rice is gonna, like I talked about this fixture, right? Tarkowski hoofs the ball, and Rice is always there around to recover the ball. Then he starts the attack again. Like I see that pattern of play a lot with Arsenal. I'm expecting DEFCON. I'm expecting an assist. I'm expecting a clean sheet point. So Rice is starting on like 6 points as a floor for me. I think. Obviously his expected points are lower than that, but I don't mind playing Rice at
you're
all.
planning
for
to
this
get rid
fixture.
of him anyway. In terms of 31, who are you
Next
planning
week.
to bench? You're planning to bench,
It
let's
would
say,
be-
Gabriel, potentially Potts, and who else?
It would be Alderete.
So Gabriel, Potts, and Alderete in that sense, right? You sell Rice
Yeah.
and Haaland. So
Correct.
I think it just makes sense, man. Salah again, the ceiling this fixture is there.
I'll see Haaland's minutes and take it from there.
Anything to add, LR?
No.
Your team?
So I've got Verb, Gabriel, O'Reilly, Timber, Tango, Fernandez, Boomer, Rogers, Thiago, Haaland, Ekitike. Again, 2 free transfers. And I have enough bench cover with 2 good defenders on the bench in Hill and Richards, which is why the slight
Great defenders, man.
that's why the slight temptation, because I can just use 1 free transfer to do pots to stack also and bench boost this week, because it's a genuinely decent bench boost chance to take, because Hill and Richards are decent fixtures as well. Or I could do Haaland down to Pedro and pots to Wirtz and free bench boost again. So that's an optionality. Or I can just save and do nothing and just play this team also. So all sort of things are open. The one thing I'm genuinely worried about is not having Van Dijk. But with having Gabriel, O'Reilly, Timber and having Hill and Richards on the bench, I'm like, who do I get Van Dijk for and how do I get him and is it even worth a transfer? It's just genuine fear and nothing else.
If you only had Raya, you could have had space for Van Dijk. No, I'm joking.
Are you not tempted to play one of the defenders over Rogers?
I am thinking of maybe playing defender over Rogers. But if I'm aggressive, what I'm thinking of doing is Haaland. If I'm passive, I think I'm going to save. If I'm in the mood to be aggressive, I'm thinking of doing Haaland to Pedro and Rogers to Salah and get 2 players I really like for the next 2-3 weeks and decide what to do in 32 after.
Because I have a similar dilemma with Rogers. Because I think just holding on to him for the fixture in 31 doesn't necessarily making sense. Because again, we just spoken about how much West Ham have improved. It's not really an ideal fixture in that sense.
Yeah, so it's between. So the aggressive move is that, or I could just bench Rogers. So it's a whole plethora of options, and I want to see how the Champions League looks.
Can I make my vote? I think the Wirtz and João Pedro and bench boost sounds very nice. You're taking a risk that Liverpool win and bench boost in 33 becomes good, but that looks good, man. Those 2 defenders, Hill and Richards, they are both DEFCON guys. Both have good, okay clean sheet odds. I mean, that's a good bench boost.
Why do you think I was asking you 3-4 times? What are we waiting for in the bench boost?
You were trying to lead me to an answer. Unfortunately, I have to look. 1/3 chance is that it backfires. 2/3 chances is that it works out.
But are you happy holding Wirtz for the long run? If you are, I think you'd do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I have no problem. So I'll see how I feel about it, because if I'm getting Salah and Pedro, then I'm thinking about a Gameweek 32 wildcard also and bench boost in 33, which I think on paper is the most aggressive play. Getting Salah and Pedro now for 2 weeks and then wildcarding 32, which I'm okay with an aggressive play, because again, I'm chasing rank, right? So,
but LR, everyone is going to wildcard in 32. Like I'm not trying to discourage you from it, but if you want to, the thing I like about not wildcarding in 32 is when you sit in 35, you can make a team with 8 different players to the others. And still they could be good options. Now they could do well as well. Everybody's allowed to score points. But if you want to really go, people say differential, I want to finish the season. The frustration is everybody's doing the same moves. Everybody on wildcard 32 will be doing the same moves. Wildcard 32, I'll tell you now, they'll have Bruno in their team. They'll move Bruno to Semenyo in 33 for the double. Then they'll start shipping out their maybe some Chelsea players, Brighton players, for Crystal Palace players. Every move will be pre-planned till Gameweek 38. That is I hate that.
But my only thing is, if information doesn't change drastically between 32 and 35, the biggest compromise that a wildcard 32 makes is 32. Outside of that, I think Newcastle,
but why will information not change? End of the season, information changes a lot. Who's in Europe, who's not in Europe, who's on the beach, who's not on the beach, who's injured.
But the counter to that, and I'm playing devil's advocate, is that the relegation race, the title race, and the European race does look like it's going to go down to the last week or two.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Like in terms of teams to target, I don't know how early we'll go off Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, United. Like these are the teams that are going to be in and around the mix.
You won't
And I
have
also
Liverpool
think-
United.
Yeah. But so
On
it's,
Wildcard
I'm open
Saturday.
to everything. I'm like, I have no idea. Like if I'm actually getting Pedro and Salah, I can still not wildcard in 32.
Yeah.
Play it. So that's also an option. So I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was very happy that Pras said that okay, no, save the bench boost for later, and then you just drop this here that think of using the bench
It's
boost.
because you have triple captaincy left as well. It's more tempting for you than for me.
Also on a personal level, what is the thinking? I'm traveling on Friday, Saturday. I don't want to be on my phone checking if this guy is there. Does he look like he's going to be fit or not? And read every morsel of every team press conference to see if this guy is looking likely he's playing. Right. The problem is it's a Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday turnaround.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Zoph?
Let's just play a devil's advocate, right? Also, I think Bournemouth will concede at Burnley. They'll probably win, but Burnley have been conceding. Palace are playing on Thursday.
Exactly. That's also my thinking.
Dubravka is a bit
Bournemouth
rubbish.
defense looks shaky.
Dubravka isn't keeping a clean sheet.
Yeah. And
But you have
you can
DEFCON.
play devil's advocate.
But the thing is, you have DEFCON,
Yeah.
guys. Hill likely gets DEFCON. Richards likely gets DEFCON. So the floor is a little bit high.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I think the matchup looks better than it actually is on paper in terms of actual clean sheet odds and how I see the games going, because
And
Thursday
even
does come
worse,
into play for me.
minutes we have to see now. Let's say he starts against Galatasaray. How many minutes are we going to see?
Yeah. See, the counter to Wirtz is he can easily be Tavernier.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be Wirtz. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
that option still remains. So Tavernier, Wilson, whatever, right? It can be any mid that is more nailed on to play if I'm genuinely thinking of playing a bench boost. So yeah, that's where I am. So TBD, if I decide, I will let you guys know if you haven't recorded your team selection video. Unfortunately, I will not be doing a team selection video traveling Thursday onwards, but I'll post my thoughts in the Discord, etc.
My team, 2 free transfers, 0.9 in the bank. Verbruggen, Virgil, Gabriel. Munoz, unfortunately, has been an absolute disaster transfer. Cost me so many points for the last few weeks, and he's now injured. The news is that he's potentially back after the international break. He is expected to miss the next 2 game weeks at least. So Anderson will likely sub in for Munoz over there. I won't bother with the transfer. Then I have Rice, Bruno, Bumo, Dango, Krupi, Haaland, and Thiago. Krupi, I'm starting over Rogers at the moment. Will Krupi start? I'm not entirely sure. It could be Tavernier in the 10. The minutes are not as secure now going forward or into game week 31. It is very performance dependent, right? He could start game week 31 if he does well against Burnley. So it's a bit of a risk carrying Krupi into this. So I could potentially roll this team, not make any transfers. I could potentially do just one transfer, Haaland to Ekitike, and not roll the second transfer. Or I could take the hit now. Let's say when I do Haaland to Ekitike, now I can't go direct to Salah from either Rice or Rogers. I need to raise about 0.2, 0.3. So what I'm thinking, if Harry Wilson is fit, something like Haaland to Ekitike, Rice to Wilson, and then Rogers to Salah, then I can potentially save the transfer in 31. And what I mapped my future paths, let's say if I'm going to eventually turn Rogers into Salah, because if I'm going to be sitting with that much amount of money, I am going to be buying Salah either in 32 or 34. It's just bringing that transfer a week forward. And buying a captaincy option for the hit is not as off-putting, right? So it just makes more sense, I think. And Wilson is somebody I really want in 31. I can't bear the sight of Rogers anymore. So that's where I'm currently leaning. It might be my first hit of the season.
It's his first of the season. Can you believe it, Pras?
I'm on 4, man. I've been so bad.
Yeah. And again, this entire hit has been caused by Daniel Munoz. Can you just believe, look at, since I sold Munoz, right? I sold O'Reilly to get Munoz. O'Reilly went on to get 17 and 13. And then after that, I decided, okay, man, now that I've got Munoz, I have to get some points out of him. I decided to keep Munoz and sell Timber. The next 2 weeks, Timber has gone and got 8 and 13. So effectively, the fact of the Munoz transfer, you count the 12 points he's got me, it's cost me 40 points in the last 4 game weeks, and now I have an injured player.
That's terrible. And he got injured in that Spurs game where he could have easily got an attacking return. Like there were points on offer for everyone.
So it maybe not been the best decision, but I think the variance on that has been very, very harsh.
No, decision was fine, man. Decision was fine.
Extreme variance.
He's played Burnley at home, Wolves at home, Leeds at home, and you got 1 clean sheet out of it. A 10 point.
And he had good underlying numbers in the games he started also.
I wasn't even trying to play him in the
And
last few.
Tottenham.
I think then you had Anderson just randomly miss out over the last couple. So it's been horrific, man. Munoz in my relationship is strained.
The bench jam in general. Like Pras and I managed to get Hill for 8 points, and we were still feeling like shortchanged in terms of how much everybody else was getting off the bench.
Yeah, you've seen
That
Anderson.
Anderson goal triggered me a lot, man. Like the guy never scores. He never scores. He comes from second bench to people's teams.
But that goal was coming, huh? Like the
Dude, he's on 0.06 xg per 90. What do you mean the goal was coming?
In the last, since the new manager come in, his entire role was taking more.
He's been more involved, but it's like he's still less attacking than even Rodgers. But imagine you bench him when he comes.
I can see something to trigger you so bad right now. Should I do it, Zoph?
Do it.
His goal in the last 2-3 games was coming like how Bruno's goals would come.
No way. We cannot compare.
But what are you guys thinking? Do Salah in?
Yeah, I think so. See how tonight pans out.
I mean, it all depends on how much I want to rely on Krupi this week and next.
By the way, if you're not making moves, I would play Rodgers ahead of Krupi.
Nah.
Oh no, it's Burnley.
It's Burnley, man.
But that performance was good because of Evan Nielsen.
It was, but again, Krupi is not competing with Evan Nielsen. He's more in the 10 spot where Tavernier might play. But I think Tavernier is not very suited to the 10. I think Tavernier is more suited to the left wing. And then you have Ryan on the left.
Yeah.
So I think Krupi could still get minutes. And ultimately, they didn't score. He's still ultimately the main goal threat in that sense. But again, he could be 45 minutes. With Krupi, you never know. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
So I'm okay.
I also have a little bit of a Rodgers feeling against us. I feel like he's going to score.
Rodgers would score 5 goals and he would still be at the bottom of my garbage bin, man. I hate him so much.
You give that hate, man. You give that hate. They'll let it out.
Pras is starting Rodgers?
Just doesn't own Rodgers.
But what I'm trying to say is, hate your players. It's okay to have emotion.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Super chats, guys. Do we have any?
I think that's all couple. Maybe just one. Just one from Yogesh. 2 free transfers, Robert to JP, Rice to Palmer, or Roofs to a goalkeeper. Don't bother with the goalkeeper transfer now, man. Pedro to JP, Rice to Palmer.
If you're wildcarding in 32, I don't mind that move.
Yeah. I do the Palmer or Salah moves.
Yeah.
That's about it, guys. No more super chats.
By the way,
please.
Palmer, his favorite opposition is next week, huh? Just FYI. Loves playing Everton.
Yes, he does. That's I really hope. Yeah. I think. What are you guys thinking about the Champions League this week now? How do you think the games are going to go?
I think we'll see one unexpected result.
Spurs winning?
People even forget Spurs are in the Champions League. When people talk about Champions League, they'll talk about Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, Newcastle. Okay, we're done. And Liverpool, and we're done.
I just think we'll see one unexpected result. That's all. I don't know which one it is, but we might see one. City Madrid is so tough to call, man. I don't know how to call it.
I think City and Chelsea are tomorrow. I think today we have Newcastle, Spurs, and Liverpool.
Yeah. Liverpool away to Galatasaray is not going to be easy at all. It's not going to be easy. Even if they come back with a draw, it's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. Even Newcastle, right? I would give them a little bit of a chance if Bruno Guimaraes was fit. If he's not there, they're a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, I think Barcelona will pretty much steamroll them. I hope not. I always back the English teams in Europe.
And Eddie Howe's a decent cup manager, man. Like he's a good matchup manager and he knows how to do well in these one-off games. So that's also.
But when I saw that Man City game, I was like, dude, come on. Like in one way, I was hoping if Newcastle win, it'll change chip strategies. Now because Brentford lost, it changed it anyway. But I saw nothing from Newcastle where that St. James's Park aura, it was just missing.
Yeah. I mean, we normally own these defenders and they're sitting first number of big chances considered in the last 6. That's never happened before. With
Not great. And they have the in Gameweek 31, people could be going for them because they have the derby against Sunderland, which they have to take revenge because they lost the away leg or the away game.
Yeah.
So
it should be fun.
Sorry?
Let's wrap up. Any last words?
Let's wrap up. Good pod. I'll see you guys next week. Make sure you're tuning in for both Zoph and Pras's team selection videos. Very, very important team selection videos.
Because
Close
after
to
you
Champions
see
League as well.
it's always interesting.
Exactly.
I'll be
and
definitely watching it and tuning in.
There'll be lots of time to whatever I'm trying to say, deep dive into the chip strategy during the international break. Because remember, we'll have a 3-week break after next weekend. So next weekend is a Friday deadline. After that, we'll have lots of time to think about it. Without clicking the button, we can still talk about Wildcard 35 versus Wildcard 32, Free Hit 34 versus Free Hit 33. So I would not fixate on it too much, apart from just thinking about it a little bit for your transfers. That would be the only thing I would say.
Yeah. We're going to be thinking about our IPL auction anyway in the international break. So.
As soon as it finishes, exactly.
Yeah. I think CSK has a much better team this year than last.
Yeah. You must be so happy in terms of how the World Cup has happened now that Cheta is in Chennai. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
First pick, Zoph's first pick. I know it.
If I'm before him, I'm 100% picking Sanju just to like piss Zoph off.
All right, excellent. Thank you for joining, everybody. Hit like and subscribe to the channel if you can. Otherwise, we will see you for the team selection videos later in the week.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.